welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. I make bookish content. Today we're going to be going through all the books that I read in October. I read a lot of books in October, a little bit more than usual. I usually read about 4 books a month on average. Even though I have 6 books that are typically on my TBR, I usually only get through 4 of them. This month I was able to get through 5. And I think that's mainly because I read a couple thrillers this month, and thrillers are just a lot more bingeable and easy to get through and typically shorter than the fantasy books that I like to read, which are freaking so long. So I'll go through the first 2 books I read in October. I read Verity by Colleen Hoover. I've never read, this is my first Colleen Hoover book that I read. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was a page turner for sure. Creepy. It's a romantic thriller, so there's a romance in it, but it's also like a thriller, mystery, creepy vibes. And it was just perfect for October. I really enjoyed it. I expected there to be a little bit more of a twist than there was, and I felt like, you know, the clues along the way led you, and the ending wasn't like incredibly shocking to me. I kept thinking there was going to be more of a twist in the end than there was, but it was still super bingeable, super addicting, and kept me up late reading it, and it was just a perfect book to read in October, and I enjoyed it. So I rated this 4 stars. I definitely am going to be reading more of her books, so if you have any specific recommendations that are good romantic thrillers of hers, please leave them in the comments below. Then I read The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. This is my first Lucy Foley book as well, and it started out very rough for me. I was very bored in the beginning. I think it was just because I was so bogged down by all of the different point of views that are in this book. But once you get through the character development and more invested into each of the characters' stories, it's so good. So this basically follows Jess, who's going to go live with her brother Ben in his apartment in Paris, and she gets there and he's missing. And so the book follows multiple points of view of all the different neighbors in this apartment complex, and how they know her brother Ben, and what they know about his disappearance. The whole time you're seeing that each of these neighbors has a motive to want to harm him, and so you're trying to figure out who is responsible for his disappearance, what happened to him, and it's super good. And in the end, like, it all the perspectives weave together so great, and you're just like, oh, so that's how these people connect to the other people. It ended up being a very good book, and I rated it 4 stars. It's unlike any other thriller that I've read, which I've only read like mainly Frida McFadden books, and this wasn't really a romantic thriller, it was just a mystery thriller, but I really enjoyed it. And it did have a very unexpected twist in the end, which I usually am not very caught off guard by thriller twists in the end. Like, they're not that surprising for me, but this one, I was surprised by the ending in this book. Then I got to the much anticipated read, Fourth Wing. I actually posted a reading vlog where I read Fourth Wing for the first time, if you want to check it out. But I had an incredible time with this book. Similarly, it was a little bit difficult for me to get into at first, because I'm just always like that. Like, it's really hard for me to get into books at first because of the character development and everything, and the backstories, and it takes me a while to like get invested into a new set of characters and everything. But once I got further into the story, and like once you get to the romance of Violet and Xaden, oh, I was obsessed. I was so obsessed with the relationship. I still am. I can't stop thinking about them. I thought the dragons were interesting. This book, at the end of this book, really caught me off guard. I was not expecting it, and I rated this book 5 stars because even though there was some parts of it that I thought were boring, like, I'm not really as into the training, like the dragon training and like that aspect of the book. I'm more into the romance part of it. But I was obsessed with the romance part, and the fact that I like couldn't stop thinking about it, and I was just up like reading it so late at night and wanted to just binge the heck out of this book, and that I like no books after it have been satisfying for me because I can't stop thinking about this series, shows it as 5 stars. The twist at the end really has me interested, like more interested in the rest of the plot of the book, not just the romance, because the twist just in the end, I wasn't expecting it, and so I'm very interested to see how it's going to unfold in the next book. Then I read The Vampire Diaries. Now this book actually has The Vampire Diaries Part 1, which is called The Awakening, and then it also has the second one called The Struggle. I read The Awakening, so I have not read The Struggle yet, so I only read the first book that's in this book. I am a big fan of the Vampire Diaries TV show, Team Damon, and I just really have always been interested in seeing what the series is like. Now, if you are going into this book series expecting it to be like the TV show, you are going to be gravely disappointed, okay? It is not like the TV show at all. Not even the characters look the same, which I mean, I know that's not that big of a deal, but it's not just the way that the characters look, but there's just a lot of differences in the book than the TV show. For example, in the TV show, Elena and Stefan immediately like hit it off and are interested in each other, and like, you know, they start to date, and then later she finds out he's a vampire or whatever. In this book, Elena is obsessed with Stefan and wants his attention so bad, and cannot for the life of her find out why he doesn't want to like pay her the time of day, and he doesn't want anything to do with her. And so the first part of the book is just her trying to figure out a way to get him to talk to her. And she's very immature and very conceited and like, oh, everyone loves me, like I'm so popular, and why doesn't he love me? Oh, I have to come up with a secret plan to try to trick him into liking me and talking to me or whatever. And so I don't think she's a very likable FMC, to be honest. I also don't feel like they really developed like a relationship between Stefan and Elena before it goes from him ignoring her to them being like obsessively in love with each other, like insta love, with no development whatsoever of their relationship at all. It just goes from nothing to obsessed. It finally, in the end of the book, we get the introduction of Damon, whereas like in the TV show you immediately get Damon and he's involved in the first season, but in this book you don't get Damon's introduction until like the very end. And then you get some of the backstory of the history of his relationship with his brother and like how they became vampires. It's not the same at all as the TV show is what I'm trying to say, but it's still fun. It was still fun and enjoyable for me to read. It was a little bit like cheesy, like at parts. I just thought it was a little bit cheesy. If you know the beginning of the TV show series, how there's like the fog and the crows and all that stuff is cheesy, that's kind of how this book is. It's like the stuff isn't like scary, like the parts with the vampires and stuff isn't scary. You're just kind of like, that's, you know, supposed to be scary, but it's a little corny. But because I love the characters so much, I enjoyed reading this, and I've responded to some people on my TikToks when I was talking about the differences, basically just treating this like it was a fan fiction, like it was a different story about the same characters. And if you go into this book series like that, you'll probably enjoy it because you're getting a different story about the characters that you love. But if you're going into it expecting it to be like the TV show, you will be disappointed because it's nothing like the TV show. But I might continue it. I'm not like super invested to where I want to immediately pick up the next book and continue the series. I think I will eventually, but I'm not in a rush to do so. I rambled on way too long about that book, but those are my thoughts. And now I'm also reading the second in the House of Devil series, which is called, this one's The City of Gods and Monsters. That's the first one. The second one is The City of Souls and Sinners by Kayla Edwards, and I have been reading that on my Kindle. I'm not finished with it yet. I'm about 50% of the way through, and I don't like it as much as the first one so far. The first one, you know, you're getting introduced to the world for the first time. It's very interesting from the beginning of the book to the end. Like, it had my attention, and you are getting like the slow burn of the relationship between the FMC and the MMC, whereas in this book the FMC and MMC are already together. And I just don't like it as much, like, because it's not really so much as about the romance between them. It's more like heavy into the rest of the plot, the fantasy that's going on, and it's still interesting. Like I still like it, but I'm finding myself like wanting to be done with it already, and I'm not like obsessed with it at all. Like I was the first one. I was freaking obsessed and I loved it. So the second one's kind of a letdown so far. I still plan to complete the series, hoping that it'll get better as you get deeper into the series. Maybe the second book is just gonna have to build a lot of context for what's to come in the rest of the series. So I'm not giving up on it yet, but it's probably gonna be like 3 stars, or yeah, I guess three stars. I'm just like not enjoying it, and maybe the second half of the book will pick up and I'll enjoy it a lot more, but I'm just really let down because of how amazing this first book was and how obsessed I was with it. I wanted to like feel that same way about the second one, and I'm not. I still love the characters. I love the found family in this book, and I love Darien Castle is the best, and so is Lauren, but I don't know. I'm just getting kind of bored of the plot in this book. Those were the 5 books that I read in October. So now I'm going to go over the books that I plan to read in November. So I typically do a TBR video where I, you know, pull prompts from a jar, or use my TBR cards to like randomly pick the TBR with you guys. Since we're getting to the end of the year, I really want to continue some of the series that I'm in the middle of, and instead of starting a bunch of new series. And so I decided I'm not going to do any more TBR videos for the rest of the year. I'm just going to pick what books I want to finish this year and prioritize those, and kind of mood read with whatever I'm in the mood for the rest of the year, going through those series that I'm in the middle of and trying to wrap some of them up or get further along in them, at least, because I'm in the middle of a lot of series right now, and some of them are very long series. So I'm in the middle of Zodiac Academy series. See how many books are in that series. So there's 9 main books. I've only read 1 so far. So I have 8 more of those books to go. Then I'm also reading the Addicted series, which you're supposed to read alongside the Calloway series. 10 books in the Addicted series and the Calloway Sisters series. So 5 of each, I guess. So I've read 1 of those, so I have 9 more of those to read. And then I have the rest of Fourth Wing to read, which there's only 2 more out that are out right now. 1 on the way, and then I have the rest of the House of Devil series, which I think I'm going to take a break from after this next one that I'm reading now. And then I have the Windy City series that I read the first book of, which I really, really, really loved. The first book in the Windy City series, Mile High. It's one of my favorite romance books that I've read this year. It was so good, and I just ate it up. I loved the dynamic between the MMC and the FMC. Actually, I have a reading vlog if you want to check it out, but it was good. It was like enemies to lovers, forced proximity. She is his flight attendant. He is a professional hockey player, and it's just so good. So I might read the second in that series, which I think follows her friend and her brother and their relationship. So that's on my mind. And then I'm also in the middle of the Boys of Tommen series. But how many are in that? 6. Okay, so I've read 2 of those. So I might read the next one in that. I think those are all the series I'm in the middle of. I'm trying to think if there's another one that I'm in the middle of, but I'm pretty sure that's all the books I'm in the middle of. So those are the series that I want to be prioritizing. So a couple standalones that I was interested in reading before the end of the year, but I'm not going to prioritize the standalones as much as I am the series, because like, I don't know, I just want to get further in these series, and I really love all of these series that I'm reading right now, and so I'm really excited to like get deeper into them. So I'm just gonna kind of mood read the rest of the month. So but I'm going to probably read 4 books in November and 4 books in December. The next books that I have my eye on the most, I would say, is I kind of need to break from fantasy, because I read Fourth Wing this month, and I read Vampire Diaries, and I read the second in the City of Gods and Monsters. So I think I'm going to continue the romance books that I'm in the middle of. So I think I'm going to do The Second in the Mile High series, The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford, and then I'm going to read Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. And then I'm going to read the second in the Zodiac Academy series, which was on my TBR for October, but I didn't get to it. So I'm going to read the second in the Zodiac Academy, Ruthless Fae, which is a dark academia setting. The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford is a sports romance. I think it's a professional basketball player. And then, if you know, the Boys of Thomas series is a romance, high school romance that's like has some trauma and like darker themes in it. It's very good. And then the fourth book, probably Iron Flame, which is the second in the Empyrean series. Those are the books that I'm probably going to be reading in November, but I might change it up a little bit depending on my mood. But thank you for joining me for another video. I have to go help my baby because he just woke up from his nap, but I will see you guys next week, and leave any books that you specifically would like me to read in a reading vlog. Thanks.